Welcome to Just a Word. This is my review of the most recent Downton Abbey movie, the grand finale. It came out a few weeks ago, so this review may be considered late, but it has given you time to see the movie for yourself. So, because there will be spoilers, so I will say that. And if you haven't seen it by now, please don't listen if you're, interested in seeing the movie. But if you have seen it, feel free to go ahead and listen. So, I'll begin with my review. So, I actually really enjoyed this movie. I didn't think that I was going to because, they've already made two previous movies. I didn't enjoy the second one as much as I had hoped, and I may have to go back and rewatch that because it's been a while. And I didn't see that movie in theaters. I saw that movie streaming because I believe it came out during the pandemic. So there it might have come out in theaters, but and it also might not have, but I'm pretty sure I saw that streaming. And so that kind of affects my view of it as well. I may not have been paying as much attention as I would have sitting in the theater as I did with this particular movie. So I will start off by saying I really did enjoy the movie. The cast was great. Everybody looked really great. Downton Abbey, I think it came on what, like 15 years ago. So you had people, that have aged. Some people have actually passed away. Um, Particularly Dame Maggie Smith. Um, but the people who are still there in the series, I mean, everyone looks great, even though you can tell they're older and stuff. Some of them you can't really tell, but everyone looks really great. It was really nice to see how well the cast looked. So that was really awesome. Now, this is one of the highlights of the film. Mary and Edith. Just seeing Mary and Edith get along so well as sisters was so nice. It was just really nice. They had such a contentious relationship throughout the show. Of course, towards the end of the show, the very end of the show, Mary decided they could be friends. Edith had, if you recall, Edith had at times tried to warm up to Mary and tried to suggest that they be close, particularly when Sybil died. And Mary said, probably not, something like that. And she was so mean. But anyhow, finally, in these films, we see Mary and Edith, as close sisters, and it's really sweet. So I enjoyed this aspect of the film. Something that stood out to me in the film. So, they had Tom's character to remarry, and I think that happened in the second film. I think that happened in, I think that's New Era. I don't remember. But anyhow, I think that time, yeah, because I feel like they set it up in the first movie and he actually got married in the second movie. I kind of was indifferent about that. Again, I'm gonna have to rewatch that movie. Anyway, interesting thing, his wife was not in this film at all. So I'm sure it was a casting issue, who knows. And really, to be honest, Tom was not in this movie that much. It's really interesting. Tom has moved off of the estate. They did bring Sibby back, so Sibby made an appearance with Tom, but not his new wife. And I believe Tom has a baby, so not the baby either. So, like I said, he was not even in the movie that long. So that was kind of interesting. And I just noticed that as well in general with some of these characters. And I'm gonna come, so that's gonna come up later in this review, where they kind of build up to building a relationship and then you don't see the person anymore. So that was interesting. But yeah, it was cute that Sibby was in it, and I believe it's the original actress from when the show was on. And I'm pretty sure the little boy who played George, who was Mary's son, I'm pretty sure that's the little boy who was in the series because he looks the same, his hair and everything. He's just grown up. So that was cute. It's nice that they're able to keep the child actors in the movie for the most part. who I did not see. They did not, I don't recall them showing us Marigold, and I could be wrong. I don't recall Marigold. I do not recall. I know for sure they did not have Edith's new baby, because they did mention the baby, because Edith said how she missed the baby. So they did not show that baby, her and Birdie's child. And I don't recall them showing Marigold, but as I'm thinking about it, they might have. Maybe they did have Marigold. I don't remember. Who else was there? Now, Bates and Anna. Bates and Anna in the show had a son. And in this movie, Anna had another child. I think she was pregnant during this movie, if I'm not mistaken. See, I've forgotten already, because it hasn't been that long since I finished the series again. But they showed Bates and Anna's older child, and I think it was, for a second I was thinking, did they forget that they had a son and they showed an older daughter? I don't remember. I'm gonna have to rewatch it. But yeah, it's cute that they did kind of bring some of the kids back, and keep that. Now here's the one that bothers me, because they invested so much of the series, and we were so emotionally invested in who Mary was going to pick to marry, and they went with Matthew Good. Matthew Good is the actor's name, and I don't remember his character's name. I will start doing more research for my videos, but this is one of the most kind of disappointing things in these movies, and not really, because Mary's not my favorite character, and I love Matthew Good. He's so cute. He's so cute, but so I already felt a kind of way about them putting him with her, because I don't like her that much. But for them to pick him, and I had to think about it, when they selected him for the series, they had no idea, maybe they thought about it a little that they would do a film, but I'm sure they had no idea they would be doing 3 films. And he is a pretty much in demand actor. Yeah, and he's very busy. And it's weird how they did not have him in the second film, but yet they kind of gave Mary a little bit of a love interest, even though it wasn't explicit. It was a little bit implied the guy did have a crush on her. It's really weird. And then he's just not in this film at all, and they wrote him out, and they made, it was a scam. He basically apparently cheated on her and left and stuff. So if you haven't seen it, you will, that's your spoiler. But it was very disappointing, because the way they set this character up in the series, he's like a good guy. He would never do her like that. It was like really, but in real life, it's possible that someone could do you like that, and you wouldn't even see it coming, and you think he's so great. Like he was, it was just really, I don't know, it's kind of disappointing. But in a sense, these are things that can happen, because if Matthew, if the guy Dan Stevens, if he stayed on, if he did not leave the series as he did in season 3, who knows what they would have written into the Matthew and Mary story. Would they have been in love forever? Even Mary kind of mentioned that in the series, when she was having a conversation after Matthew died, when she was considering remarriage, and she's saying, well, we were young, and who knows what would have happened. So, and that is very true. So we don't even know what would have happened in the Matthew-Mary relationship if Matthew or Dan Stevens had not left the series. We don't know what would have happened with Sybil and Tom had, I don't remember her name, Jessica Brown Finley, I think that's her name, if she had not left the series. So it's like, it's a lot of things that can happen in relationships. Because look at what happened with Lord and Lady Grantham. I mean, as much as they love each other, he was about to go full on and cheat on her. But they cut it short, so these are things that can happen. But anyhow, yeah, Matthew Good is so cute, even looking at this picture. But yeah, he's not in it. Yeah, so that was very interesting. Let me see if I can go to my next slide. Here we go. Okay, now here's the next thing I want to talk about. Fashion. The fashion in this movie, I mean, overall, the show, the style, but I feel like when we got to that first movie, we're really at the end of the series. At the end of the last season of Downton Abbey, because we're going into a different era. So we're going into, because I think Downton Abbey they ended that in the 20s, what, like 1924 or something. So the 20s had great fashion, the flapper era, because I remember them saying that about Rose. Excuse me, Rose was a flapper. So yeah, so you get that, all those clothes, in that part of the series were fabulous. And then when we got to that first movie, I believe they were kind of going into the 30s. Some of Mary's clothes were exquisite. Oh my gosh. I remember this black and white dress she had. It was gorgeous. So this movie is heavy fashion. Like, the fashions are not going to let you down, because we're in that era of the 20s and 30s, which was a really good era for fashion. Beautiful fabrics, beautiful silhouettes, just gorgeous. Mary had this gorgeous coat. Let me go to this next slide. This red dress right here was a work of art. It kind of put me in the mind. There's an iconic dress that Keira Knightley wore in, I think it's Atonement. That green silk dress. If you know what I'm talking about, you look it up if you don't. But that's an iconic dress. This red dress, it may not be as iconic as that Keira Knightley green dress, but it is iconic. It is gorgeous. Yeah, so I had to pause this, but yeah, so this is a gorgeous dress. It fits her incredibly. So, I mean, I think that well, I mean, it is, what's her name? Michelle Dockery. In the press, she's pregnant. She's in real life, she's pregnant. So, I don't know how long ago they filmed this movie. But she looked really great. She looked really great. That's something I wonder about with these films, is how these actresses are able to keep their weight down and stay like a certain size without being able to like work out heavily. I mean, I wonder because they can't look too muscular, because that would not be accurate for the day. Like, I wonder if they can do Pilates. Fortunately, like, for them, mainly all you're gonna see on them are their arms. Because the dresses are so long, you don't see legs or anything like that. But their arms are pretty slender. You don't see a lot of muscle tone. So I really do not know how they keep their weight down. I wonder if it's just a matter of willpower and not eating a lot. I know that that's, what show was that? I can't remember. There's a show where an actress was talking about that. Like, because in my life, I rely quite a bit on working out and trying to, maintain weight, lose weight, whatever. And with that comes a certain amount of muscle tone, at least for myself. Now, some people do not actually develop a lot of muscle tone, even when they do certain workouts. So who knows if that's the case for them. But I mean, in this picture, you can see the actress that portrays Edith, Laura something, I don't know, but you see how small she looks. Like, I don't recall her looking that small on the show. You can almost see collarbone. She looks really small, so I don't know what's going on with that. Michelle Dockery pretty much looks the same as she did on the show, which is, like, again, good on her. I mean, everybody looks amazing, considering this show was like I said, 15 years ago. I don't, let me see, do I look the same? No, I do not look the same as I did 15 years ago. So I mean, wow. Yeah, I'm impressed with that. But yeah, the fashions are amazing. So, to sum it all up, this was a really, really enjoyable movie. Really good. I am in a time in my life where I just don't want a lot of deep emotional content. I don't want to see gore. I don't want to see graphic violence or sex or any of that. So I just like to see a good movie, well written, good plot. and I enjoyed this. I enjoy it's a comfort. It's a comfort show now. Downton Abbey is definitely a comfort show. Actually, the series is not always comforting because if you watch it, they do have some heavy. There's a couple heavy themes in there, but the movies they have definitely kept them very light, and I appreciate that. They don't want to traumatize us anymore, which I appreciate. So they have been always a safe bet. It was sad, and it was kind of sad that Dame Maggie Smith is gone. But I mean, the lady was in her 80s, 84, maybe older. I'm not sure. She might have been 89, but she lived a good long life. But I know it was hard, particularly for the actress that plays Isabel Crawley. It was probably really hard for her. To not have her filming partner because they did so many scenes together, and then also probably for the man who, well, all of them, I'm sure, because they all played, did scenes with her quite regularly. So I'm sure, and she was like the helm of the show. So I'm sure it was difficult for all of them to not have her there, but that is life. But the man, Lord Merton, he's still here, so he's still with Isabel. That was really nice. Of course, Mr. Carson is still there with Miss uh, I don't remember, but her. I was about to say O'Brien, and that's not who she is, but I see her face. I just don't remember her character's name right now. But yep, they did that. They brought Thomas back with his companion, which I was surprised, but they found a way to bring Thomas back. But Thomas is an iconic character, so it's just interesting the characters that they brought back, and the characters that they did not. Because Rose wasn't in it. Rose was not in it. And I like Rose. I like her character, but perhaps that actress was not available. Um, so I don't know. But overall it was a good movie. I might actually go ahead and get these on DVD. I haven't done that, but I may go ahead and get these like to add to my collection because I have the show on DVD. So I might as well go ahead and get the movies as well. So they say that this is the last one. It's like they're the grand finale. That's it. But in all honesty, they really, if they wanted to, they could put out a couple more movies on this because I mean, the way it ended was really sweet, which I was also kind of surprised. But Lord and Lady Grantham actually moved into the Dowager House, and Mary is now in charge of Downton Abbey, the large house. But Mary, George is growing up. That could be a thing. Sibby is growing up. That could be a thing. They have different ways they could go with this. Daisy took over the kitchen now. Miss Patmore's retiring. Carson's retiring. It wouldn't be the same. It would be difficult, but if the groundwork is there, if Julian Fellows or PBS ever decided to literally do a new era because they set that up like a new era, if they wanted to do the George, use George and Sibby and Marigold and start with the younger kids, they literally could do that. Now I don't know how that will work because I mean they actually could get into some deep stuff because they're going to go into World War II in the 40s. So who knows? But I guess maybe it wouldn't hit as hard as the original show because just like how that house is there now in Highclere Castle, it's there, but they don't have that amount of staff. Like I follow them on Instagram, and they only show like one butler. They do not have a large staff, and I think that kind of just happened with those great houses, especially going into World War II and after that it was no longer a thing. If anyone has seen Brideshead Revisited, that is kind of, they have that kind of huge house in that movie. And after World War II, which actually Matthew Good is in, after World War II. They like used those houses for command centers, hospitals again, like they did in World War I in Downton Abbey, and it just wasn't the same. Um, I know there are probably still some families who live in those houses, like the people who live in Highclere Castle. I don't think they live there full time, but it's just not really a sustainable lifestyle anymore. So I don't know how that would hit. And that was kind of the allure of Downton Abbey, with the relationships between that large group of staff and the people, the nobility or aristocracy or whatever, who actually lived upstairs. So anyway, great movie. I was surprised that I enjoyed it as much as I did. What do you think? What's your thoughts? You can put them in the comments. And that's it. This was just a word.